The compost that we receive from Merri-bek Council that's made from the waste from our green bins, the food and organics waste, is a fantastic resource. A lot of carbon, a lot of organic matter that goes to building up the soil here, combined with the compost that we make ourselves. You know, a really brilliant resource for the garden, and it produces fantastic crops, as you can see behind me.
Well, obviously it's really important to compost food. If it's just going into the normal bin, then it's creating all these really bad greenhouse gases and contributing to climate change. But the benefit for community gardens is that we can't generate as much compost on our own, so we need the addition of council compost to help us grow vegetables and renew the soil, so we get the best productivity from the garden.
Sometimes when we get the compost, there's contaminants in it, like plastics, biodegradable bags. Some of them are not quite suitable for the process that the compost goes through. We have to then sort through the compost and pull them out. Otherwise, they're going to contaminate all our vegetables and the earth that we're trying to re-nourish with the compost.
Messages go around on Facebook saying, hey, there's zucchini or cucumbers in the basket at Pentridge and they're gone in, you know, half an hour later. So we just like to share it with the community because that's what it's about.
In Merri-bek, we now have a 4-bin waste service. All households need to separate mixed recycling, glass recycling, food and garden organics, and general rubbish. This will help reduce the amount of waste we send to landfill and improve the quality of recyclables in Victoria. Glass bottles and jars now go in your new glass recycling bin. Lids must be firmly attached. Loose lids go in your general rubbish bin. Steel tins, aluminium cans and foil, paper and cardboard, and plastic bottles and containers go in your mixed recycling bin. Food scraps and garden clippings go in your food and garden organics bin. You can use paper towels to wrap your food waste. Put your glass bottles and jars, food scraps and mixed recycling in the bin loose, not in bags. Plastic bags and other items that can't be reused or recycled go in your general rubbish bin. This includes kitty litter, animal droppings, old textiles and nappies. General rubbish should be bagged or wrapped. Update your recycling knowledge today. Learn what goes in each bin by visiting merri-bek.vic.gov.au/recycling-guide.
Hi, I'm Adam Pulford, Mayor at Merri-bek City Council, and today I'm at the Faulkner Leisure Centre. In April last year, we closed the doors here to make way for the first stage of a huge $36.8 million redevelopment. We listened to the community and we're upgrading the centre to make it modern and more accessible and sustainable. So come, let's check it out. I'm here in the shell of the new 50-metre outdoor pool. The pool will have 8 lanes and can be split into 2 with a unique float-up divider. It'll be the perfect spot to get your swim in or to cool down when we reopen next summer. Our interactive water play area and beach entry pool is also taking shape. This is completely new to Faulkner Leisure Centre, and featuring a walk-in entry, this accessible and user-friendly space will surely become a family favourite. Now to the new gym and group fitness spaces. As you can see, construction is underway, ready to house the new 375 square metre gym floor, which is 100 square metres bigger than before, as well as 2 dedicated group fitness spaces. This is going to be a state-of-the-art facility designed to get more people in our community to be more active more often. With the centre set to reopen in time for next summer, we're excited to keep sharing with you updates as everything takes shape. So make sure you're following along as we bring the new Faulkner Leisure Centre to life.
Why did we decide to go all electric? The primary motivation was obviously to reduce our carbon footprint as a family, especially with a young son, 8-year-old, who's attending primary school and learning all about climate change and how we can do our bit in reducing the impact. Since purchasing this house, we've installed solar panels, and we've also converted all our appliances cooktop into induction cooktop. Removing the gas cooktop, we've installed the split systems and also the hot water heat pump. At the moment, we export most of our electricity that we produce on a sunny day, which is not a bad thing because we do get paid for that exporting the electricity. What I would recommend others thinking of going on this journey of making their home all electric is to do it. But you can take it one step at a time, there's no rush, and there's a lot of information out there, and there's a lot of government rebates that you can access as well. There's Merri-bek City Council website, there's Renew, there's also My Efficient Electric Home Facebook page where you can consult and talk to people that are on this journey.
The compost that we receive from Merri-bek Council that's made from the waste from our green bins, the food and organics waste, is a fantastic resource. A lot of carbon, a lot of organic matter that goes to building up the soil here, combined with the compost that we make ourselves. You know, a really brilliant resource for the garden, and it produces fantastic crops, as you can see behind me.
Well, obviously it's really important to compost food. If it's just going into the normal bin, then it's creating all these really bad greenhouse gases and contributing to climate change. But the benefit for community gardens is that we can't generate as much compost on our own, so we need the addition of council compost to help us grow vegetables and renew the soil, so we get the best productivity from the garden.
Sometimes when we get the compost, there's contaminants in it, like plastics, biodegradable bags. Some of them are not quite suitable for the process that the compost goes through. We have to then sort through the compost and pull them out, otherwise they're going to contaminate all our vegetables and the earth that we're trying to re-nourish with the compost.
Good evening, councillors, and to our viewers live streaming tonight's meeting. My name is Councillor Adam Pulford, and I'm the Mayor of Merri-bek City Council and the chairperson of tonight's special meeting. It's my pleasure to welcome you. We're meeting on the lands of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people, and we wish to acknowledge them as the traditional custodians of these lands and waterways and pay our respects to their elders past and present. We also want to acknowledge any other First Nations community members who may be tuning in and significantly contribute to the life of our city. This council meeting is being recorded and web streamed live to council's website and Facebook. This recording will also be available as video on demand. A reminder, councillors, that we will act in accordance with the Councillor Code of Conduct, which will support the principles of leadership and good governance that secures public confidence in the office of councillor. I'd like to introduce those in attendance for this evening. So we've got the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Lambros Tapanos.
Good evening, everyone. Or good afternoon.
We've got Councillor Anna-Olivia Carley-Hannon.
Good afternoon.
Councillor Mark Riley.
Hi there.
Councillor Oscar Yudis.
Good afternoon.
Councillor Helen Davidson.
Hi, everyone.
And Councillor Angelica.
Hi, everyone.
Angelica and I are in the same room, so we just need to master the mic muting. Great. I think that's all councillors. We've got some of our staff and CEO also here in attendance to make sure that things run smoothly. Councillor Bolton is running late, and we've got an apology from Councillor Helen Pavlidis. Do we have any other apologies people wanted to share? No. Conflicts of interest? Councillors, are there any conflicts of interest for people to disclose? Nope. So we've got two items on the agenda. One is for public discussion and one's a confidential item. So we'll start with the first item which is 4.1, contract variation, Hoskin Reserve Stage 4 landscaping. Do I have a councillor seeking to move a motion? Councillor Riley has his hand up. Councillor Ewart is to second. Councillor Riley.
Yeah, look, I think the report explains the need for this because of the impacts of contamination, and we know this is often the case when we're doing works on our open spaces and picking up the surfaces. So it's not unexpected. I think this is seems to be not. I mean, obviously, I'd like it to be less, but it seems to be a reasonable request given the budget, and I think it's something we can afford to do. Thank you. So, thanks to the officers for preparing the report.
Thank you, Councillor Riley. I just, before we move to the seconder, acknowledge Councillors Hart and Bolton. Councillor Hart, would you like to say hello, just to test your mic?
Yeah, can you hear me at all?
Yes, all good.
Okay.
And
I'll leave it on because I can't find how to turn it off, so I'll try not to cough. Thank you.
All good. Councillor Bolton?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, all good. All right, so we're on item 4.1, which is the contract variation for Hoskin. We've just had Councillor Riley move the officer rec. Councillor Ewart is as seconder.
Just very quickly, I think what we need to, I guess, accept the fact that these costs aren't in our control, and costs are going up. If you look at the number of projects, whether it's the Hoskins Reserve, I mean, this is a big project, almost 13 million. But when you look at other projects, whether it's state, federal, costs are going up, and unfortunately, as a result of that, sometimes, especially when you think about when you think about the overall cost of our $13 million, I think this is probably not that significant, but yeah, it's something that we've got to accept, and if it's going to hold the project, well, I think we need to move on and hopefully vote in favour of this motion report. Sorry.
Thank you, Councillor Ewart. Do any other councillors wish to speak to this item?
Yeah, can I just ask a question more than anything else? Is this in addition to the money that was the variation of the last council meeting, or is it the 255 that's in addition to that?
So we might refer it to the director. Yeah, Anita's got her camera on. Anita.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor. So, Councillor Tapanos, this particular contract relates to our landscaping contract. The previous contract was a civil works contract, so it's a different contract at the same project site, but the total overall cost that we know we need to allow for was already mentioned at the previous meeting. So this is included in that.
How come this wasn't discussed at the council meeting?
So Anita, yeah, sorry, did you want to respond to that?
Yeah, so Councillor Bolton, perhaps you could clarify which council meeting you're referring to?
The last council meeting where we actually had a discussion about the variation of Hoskin Reserve contracts.
So that was the special meeting that was held on the 2nd of September? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so at that time we were presenting a contract variation that related to a variation that was greater than 20% of the contract value. And since that time, we've identified that we also need council to approve contracts that are between 5 and 20%, variations that are between 5 and 20%, which this one is. And so at that time, we weren't aware that we needed to bring that much to council, but we have since determined that, and that's why we have brought it today.
Councillor Hart has a question as well, I think.
Yeah, thank you. My question is, I understand, okay, the point where it's come because of that variation of sum. I just wanted to get clarity because this is a variation around landscaping, and I really wanted to know what was going to be included in that, and that was because at the opening, I heard concern expressed by the community
with the level of work that still needed to be done, particularly on the East Field. And I think, you know, the seeding, I mean, you're looking at kind of dust bowls around that area at the moment. And I know they were asking, I believe they'd had some feedback at some point that was saying, look, some of this work's going to go back to council now. It's not going to be done by the contractors because they're out of money.
All right, Councillor Hart, yeah.
My question then is about the seeding and that's what I want to know, what's covered in that, because when I read it, I saw that variation, to me, what I was reading, it covered things like something to do with, sorry, I wrote them down somewhere, but the grandstand and other kind of things. So I wasn't sure exactly what this was agreeing to.
Would you like to speak to what this covers, Anita?
Yes. The overall contract is delivered obviously in stages, and so there are some elements of the contract that was originally approved that is still being finalised, but the variations of things that have come up that have been additional to that original scope, and that is the things that we're putting in front of you today. So it's not so much in the order of timing, but in the scope changes. And so you can see in the table there that some of these variations related to design changes.
Is that the keeping the mounds, removing the mounds? Is that what it is?
No, this contract isn't where the mounds were removed. So most of these things are things that were part of they were things that arose in the course of implementing the project that we needed to address as they came up. And some of them were to do with latent conditions, which is the asbestos related, and about 110,000 of it was related to asbestos that came up during the course of the project. In terms of the community field, that space is being seeded. The irrigation has all been laid below the soil that you would have seen at the opening, and that irrigation will mean that we will be able to water that as it grows. And so whilst we haven't rolled out grass in those locations, it will grow, and we're coming into the good months for that to happen.
Sorry, can I just clarify? Does that mean it will be seeded, or is it going to rely on Mother Nature? Or I'm trying to understand.
So, Councillor,
what's that plan?
Remember, we are in a formal meeting.
Sorry.
So it's not a briefing. Sorry, Councillor Hart, did you have another question you'd like to ask the director?
Yeah, that is my question, because my question, I understand those items, but I'm also concerned that I don't know how there is what is going to be coming up under the budget in terms of being able, is that going to be in-house, that those areas are going to be seeded, or how is that going to happen? I understand there's irrigation there, but how does that occur?
So,
because it concerns me if we've got money for something.
Councillor Hart, can we just have you stop talking, please, and let Anita respond? Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor. So, Councillor, the area will have seeding as part of the project, and at a certain point, the in-house team will take over maintenance of that. But there will be a period where we do have our contractors still having a level of responsibility until that happens.
Are there any other questions? We've heard from the mover, we've heard from the seconder. If any other councillors wish to speak or ask a question. All right. So we might then, there's been no formal debate, so we won't have a right of reply. We'll move on to a vote then. All those in favour? Okay. And any against? Okay. And any abstentions?
Yeah, I was against. I don't know if you recorded that.
There hasn't been a division called, so.
Oh, okay, grand.
But yeah, saw that. So yeah, I can declare that carried. Okay, so that's the final item that is in our public agenda. So we now need to close the meeting to the public for our second item. Do I have a mover for that? Councillor Tapanos, seconder, Councillor Eudiz. All those in favour? Yeah, and I can declare that carried. So thank you to the people who've tuned in. We're now going to close the live stream and council will meet as a protocol.